I was not meant to see what I am about to tell you. No mortal was. The veil between worlds was never designed to be torn open for human eyes. Yet on that island, exiled and forgotten, something pulled at the edges of my spirit. A call, a summons, not spoken in words, but felt like a tremor in the foundation of reality itself. It was the Lord's Day. I knelt in prayer, seeking only communion, only peace. But peace was not what awaited me. Instead, a presence descended upon me, vast and terrible, pressing against my chest like the weight of mountains. My breath caught, my vision blurred, and then I heard it, a voice, thunderous, absolute, behind me. Write what you see, send it to the 7 churches. I turned, and what I beheld made my knees buckle. The heavens were no longer heavens. They split like fabric torn by invisible hands, and through that rupture poured a light that did not belong to any sun I had ever known. It was not warm. It was piercing, cold, ancient, the kind of light that existed before stars were born. Through the rift, I heard sounds, not music, not voices, something between the two, a frequency that vibrated through my bones, shaking loose thoughts I didn't know I had. Fear gripped me, but I could not look away. The rift widened, and within it I saw movement, shapes, forms that defied description, wings that burned without flame, eyes that opened in places eyes should not exist. The air around me grew dense, suffocating. Reality itself seemed to bend, as if the island of Patmos could no longer hold the weight of what was breaking through. I realized then what was happening. I was being granted access, not permission, access to something sealed since the foundation of the world. At the edges of the rift, I saw them, beasts, not animals, not demons, something older. Their forms shifted like smoke caught in wind, never settling into a single shape. One had the face of a lion, but its body rippled with scales. Another bore wings covered in eyes, each one blinking independently, staring in all directions at once. Flames danced around them, but the flames did not consume. They hovered, suspended, waiting, and beyond the beasts, deeper in the rift, I glimpsed structures, thrones, altars, rivers of fire flowing upward instead of down, mountains made of crystal that sang when light touched them. My mind recoiled. This was not a vision meant for comfort. This was a revelation designed to shatter certainty, to unravel the false peace humanity had built around itself. I wanted to close my eyes. I wanted to flee, but I could not move. I was rooted, frozen, held by a power far greater than my will. Then the voice spoke again, and this time it came from within the rift itself. Come up here. In an instant, I was no longer on Patmos. I was inside the rift, surrounded by it, consumed by it. The air tasted like lightning. My skin burned with cold fire. And I understood something in that moment that filled me with terror beyond measure. This knowledge was forbidden, not because it was evil, but because it was too much, too vast, too absolute. The human mind was not built to hold what I was about to witness. Angels had been cast out for less. Men had been struck down for glimpsing fragments of what now stood fully revealed before me. I should not be here. Yet here I was, and the weight of that realization crushed me like a stone. I fell to my face, not in reverence, in collapse. My body could not support the magnitude of what surrounded me. And in that prostrate position, broken and trembling, I heard the words that would define the rest of my days. Do not be afraid. Write what you have seen, what is now, and what will take place later. Write as if words could contain this, as if language could hold the edges of infinity. But I had no choice. This was my burden now, my calling. I would become the scribe of the end, the recorder of the unraveling, the one who would carry this terrible, beautiful, horrifying truth back to the world of men. And so I rose, not in strength, but in obedience. And I looked with eyes that would never again see the world the same way. I looked with a heart that would never again know the luxury of ignorance. What I saw next would change everything. Before me stood a throne, not made of gold or stone, but of light itself. Pure, undiluted, absolute light. It radiated in waves, each pulse carrying the weight of 1,000 suns. Around the throne, lightning flashed in patterns too precise to be random. Thunder rolled in rhythms that sounded almost like speech, as if the very atmosphere was declaring something I could not yet comprehend. Seated on the throne was one whose appearance I cannot fully describe. To look directly at him was to feel my mind begin to fracture. His form shimmered between states, neither fully solid nor fully spirit. Jasper and ruby light surrounded him, refracting through what appeared to be an emerald rainbow encircling the throne. 24 other thrones surrounded his, and upon them sat elders clothed in white, wearing crowns of gold. They sat in perfect stillness, their eyes fixed on the center throne, their faces reflecting a mixture of awe and terror that mirrored my own. This was order. This was hierarchy. This was the cosmic law in its purest form. Around the throne, 4 living creatures hovered. They did not fly, they did not walk, they simply were, existing in a state beyond motion. Each had 6 wings covered entirely with eyes, seeing in all directions, perceiving all things simultaneously. The first creature had the face of a lion, the second an ox, the third a man, the fourth an eagle in flight, and they never ceased their proclamations, speaking in voices that shook the foundations of heaven itself. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. The words repeated endlessly, not out of monotony, but out of necessity, as if the very fabric of reality required this constant declaration to remain stable, as if silence would cause creation itself to collapse. Below the throne I saw what appeared to be a sea of glass, clear as crystal, perfectly still, perfectly ordered, a reflection of the absolute control that emanated from the one seated above it. Everything had its place. Everything had its purpose. Nothing moved without permission. And then my vision shifted. I saw the earth as it was meant to be. Humanity living in harmony with the divine rhythm. Men and women offering worship that rose like incense, their prayers reaching the throne in golden bowls carried by angels. I saw the 7 churches: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea, each with its lampstand burning, representing the light they were meant to carry into a darkened world. Some burned brightly, others flickered, but all were part of the divine order, positioned strategically across the earth like stars in a constellation. I witnessed the faithful persevering through persecution, holding fast to truth even as the world pressed against them. I saw martyrs whose blood had been spilled, their souls resting beneath the altar, waiting, patient, trusting in the justice that would inevitably come. This was how it was supposed to work. Heaven and earth in alignment, worship ascending, blessing descending, order maintained through covenant and obedience. But even as I watched this beautiful choreography, I felt something shift. A whisper of pride in a church leader's heart, a compromise made in the name of peace, a truth diluted to avoid offense, small cracks in the foundation, barely visible, easily dismissed. I saw believers growing comfortable, mixing the holy with the profane, inviting darkness to dine at the table of light. They did not see it as betrayal. They called it wisdom, balance, relevance. But the eyes covering the wings of the living creatures saw it all. Nothing was hidden, nothing was excused. Every thought, every motive, every hidden compromise was fully visible before the throne. And then I saw something that made my blood run cold. In the spiritual realm above the earth, I glimpsed figures moving in the shadows. Not angels, not demons. Something in between. Watchers who had grown restless in their assignments. Authorities who began to question their boundaries. They had not yet rebelled, but the seed was there. The desire, the curiosity about what might happen if... Yet for now, everything remained in place. The throne still radiated authority. The elders still bowed. The living creatures still proclaimed holiness without ceasing. The sea of glass remained undisturbed. But I could feel it, beneath the order, beneath the worship, beneath the perfectly maintained cosmic structure, a tension, a building pressure, like the moment before thunder breaks when the air itself seems to hold its breath. The one on the throne had not moved, his expression had not changed, but in his right hand I saw something I had not noticed before. A scroll, sealed with 7 seals, held but not opened, waiting. And I understood, this calm was not peace. It was pause, the divine holding back what was already written, what was already determined, what was already inevitable. The cosmic law was perfect, but the cosmic law required more than order. It required justice. And justice, I was about to learn, is a terrible and beautiful thing. Heaven was silent, but it was the silence before the roar. Then I saw an angel, mighty beyond measure, crying out with a voice that shook the foundations of creation. Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll? The question hung in the air like a sword suspended by a thread. I watched as the search began. Heaven was searched, earth was searched, even the places under the earth, the hidden realms where lost things dwell, were searched. No one was found worthy, and I wept, not gentle tears, but gut-wrenching sobs that came from a place deeper than emotion, because I understood what that scroll contained, the culmination of all things, the resolution of every injustice, the answer to every cry of, "How long, O Lord?" If no one could open it, then suffering would continue forever. Evil would remain unchecked. The martyrs beneath the altar would wait in vain. But then one of the elders spoke to me. "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll." I looked, and I saw not a lion, but a lamb, standing in the center of the throne, looking as though it had been slain. 7 horns, 7 eyes, the marks of sacrifice still visible on its body, yet alive, radiant, powerful. The Lamb stepped forward and took the scroll from the right hand of the one seated on the throne. That was the moment everything changed. As the Lamb held the scroll, my vision shifted back to earth. I saw humanity in its countless forms, spreading across the continents like a living tide. And within that tide, I saw the patterns repeating, the ancient patterns, the ones that had been playing out since Eden. Men building towers to reach heaven, not in worship, but in defiance. Women and men seeking knowledge that was sealed for a reason, prying open doors that bore the warning, "Do not enter." I witnessed rulers declaring themselves gods, demanding worship that belonged to another. I saw philosophers crafting arguments to explain away the divine, creating systems of thought that made humanity the measure of all things. And beneath it all, I saw the same root, pride. The belief that we could determine for ourselves what was good and evil, right and wrong, sacred and profane. The conviction that we needed no authority beyond our own desires. They did not see it as sin. They called it enlightenment, progress, freedom. But from heaven's perspective, it looked like something else entirely. It looked like rebellion in slow motion. Then I saw the Lamb break the first seal, and the sound that followed was like creation itself crying out, "Come!" From the throne a white horse burst forth. Its rider held a bow, wore a crown, and rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest, not with the authority of heaven, but with the ambition of earth. A false peace, a counterfeit kingdom, power without righteousness. And I understood. This was the transgression fully manifested, the moment when humanity's pride was given permission to run its full course, when the restraints that had been holding back the inevitable were finally released. The second seal broke. A red horse appeared. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. He was given a large sword, and immediately brother turned against brother, nation rose against nation, blood soaked the ground in rivers. The third seal, a black horse, its rider holding a pair of scales, and a voice declared, "A quart of wheat for a day's wages, and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wages." Famine. Not the absence of food, but the inability to afford it. Wealth concentrated in fewer and fewer hands, while the masses starved. The fourth seal, a pale horse, its rider named Death, and Hades followed close behind. Power was given to them over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, plague, and wild beasts. 4 seals,
4 horsemen, 4 judgments unleashed, not because God was cruel, but because humanity had chosen this path and refused every warning to turn back.
The 5th seal broke, and I saw beneath the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. They cried out in loud voices, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer until the full number of their fellow servants and brothers were killed just as they had been. Then the 6th seal was opened, and what followed made the previous judgment seem like whispers before a scream. I watched as a great earthquake struck. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The entire moon turned blood red. The stars in the sky fell to earth as figs drop from a fig tree when shaken by a strong wind. The heavens receded like a scroll being rolled up. Every mountain and island was removed from its place, and the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it?" But before the 7th seal could be opened, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds so that no wind could blow on land, sea, or trees. They were waiting, holding back total devastation. Then I saw another angel ascending from the east, carrying the seal of the living God. He called out in a loud voice to the 4 angels who had been given power to harm the land and sea, "Do not harm the land or the sea or the trees until we put a seal on the foreheads of the servants of our God." And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel, marked, protected, set apart for what was coming. Then my eyes were opened to a greater vision, a vast multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and holding palm branches in their hands, crying out, "Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." I asked one of the elders, "Sir, who are these?" And he replied, "These are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." The great tribulation, the words hung in the air like a death sentence. This was not the end. This was only the beginning. The seals were opening. The cosmic transgression was fully in motion, and there was no going back. The 7th seal was about to break, and when it did, silence would fall in heaven for half an hour. Not peace, silence. The kind of silence that comes when even angels have no words for what they are witnessing. I braced myself, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next.
When the Lamb opened the 7th seal, heaven fell silent. For 30 minutes, not a word was spoken. Not a wing fluttered. Not a breath was heard. Even the living creatures who never ceased their proclamation were still. It was the silence of inevitability, the pause before catastrophe, the moment when the universe itself seems to acknowledge that a threshold has been crossed from which there is no return. Then I saw 7 angels standing before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel came and stood at the altar, holding a golden censer. He was given much incense to offer, along with the prayers of all God's people, on the golden altar before the throne. The smoke of the incense, together with the prayers, went up before God from the angel's hand. Then the angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and hurled it down upon the earth. Thunder roared, lightning flashed, an earthquake shook the foundations of the world. The 7 angels with the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. The first trumpet. Hail and fire mixed with blood were hurled down upon the earth. A third of the earth was burned up. A third of the trees were consumed. All the green grass was scorched black. I watched as forests that had stood for millennia erupted in flames that could not be extinguished. Fields of grain became seas of ash. The sky turned red with smoke, and the smell of burning filled the atmosphere. The second trumpet. Something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea turned into blood. A third of the living creatures in the sea died. A third of the ships were destroyed. The oceans, once teeming with life, became graveyards. Coastlines were littered with the corpses of fish and marine mammals. The water itself became toxic, undrinkable, death in liquid form. The third trumpet. A great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky onto a third of the rivers and springs of water. The name of the star was Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become poisoned. I saw people desperately searching for clean water. Mothers held dying children. Communities collapsed as their water sources became instruments of death. The very thing that sustained life now brought only suffering.
But the physical devastation was only part of the horror. As the trumpets continued to sound, I saw the 4 horsemen riding across the earth once more, their initial appearance now fully manifesting in global catastrophe. The rider on the white horse, Conquest, swept through nations with promises of peace and security. Charismatic leaders rose, offering solutions to the chaos. People, desperate for stability, surrendered their freedoms willingly. They did not realize they were trading one form of slavery for another. The rider on the red horse, War, left no region untouched. Nations that had been allies for generations turned on each other. Civil wars erupted within borders. Ethnic groups that had coexisted for centuries were suddenly at each other's throats. The reasons for fighting became increasingly trivial, but the bloodshed intensified. The rider on the black horse, Famine, rode through the wake of war. Supply chains collapsed. Agricultural regions became battlefields. Food became the most valuable currency, and those who controlled it wielded power over life and death. I watched as the wealthy ate lavishly while the poor starved mere blocks away. The rider on the pale horse, Death itself, moved methodically through the devastation. Plague followed war, followed famine in a vicious cycle. Disease mutated faster than medicines could adapt. Hospitals overflowed, bodies piled in streets. The living envied the dead. And Hades followed, collecting the souls of those who died without hope, without faith, without reconciliation with the one who sat upon the throne. The 4th trumpet sounded. A third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them turned dark. A third of the day was without light, and also a third of the night. The sky itself seemed to be dying. Darkness crept across regions at midday. The moon disappeared for days at a time. Stars that had guided navigators for millennia simply vanished from the heavens. Then I heard an eagle flying in midair, calling in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blasts about to be sounded by the other 3 angels." 3 woes, 3 judgments so terrible that they required their own announcement. And I watched, unable to look away, as the 5th trumpet sounded. A star that had fallen from the sky to the earth was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. When he opened it, smoke rose from the abyss like the smoke of a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke.
And out of the smoke came locusts. But these were not ordinary locusts. They had the appearance of horses prepared for battle. On their heads were crowns of gold. Their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. They had breastplates like iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, and in their tails they had power to torment people for 5 months. They were told not to harm the grass or any plant or tree, but only those who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. I watched as humanity writhed in agony from the stings of these creatures. The pain was so intense that people sought death, but death eluded them. For 5 months they longed to die, but could not. The 6th trumpet sounded, and I heard a voice coming from the 4 horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the 6th angel who had the trumpet, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." And the 4 angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. An army of 200 million mounted troops appeared. I heard their number. The horses and riders I saw in my vision had breastplates that were fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur. 1/3 of mankind was killed by these 3 plagues. Yet even after all this devastation, something horrifying became clear. The rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent. They did not stop worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood. They did not stop their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. Corruption had spread so deeply into the human heart that even the most terrifying judgments could not dislodge it. It was no longer just actions, it was identity. People had become so fused with their sin that to repent would feel like self-annihilation. I saw false prophets rising, performing signs and wonders. They called fire down from heaven in front of people and performed miracles on behalf of the beast, deceiving those who inhabited the earth.